All right, let's talk about um, the drama. This is an interesting movie to talk about. I want to talk about my biggest issue with this movie, but it requires me to do spoilers. So I'm going to spoil this movie, not in a way that I think you'll really be hurt knowing this. I think it is actually better that maybe you know this and understand this, and actually have a more nuanced take on it instead of the instant take that a lot of people are gonna have when you watch. But if you don't know what the drama is, basically this is a new H24 movie. It is starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, and they play like this soon-to-be married couple that basically on a drunk night she reveals a secret to him that he didn't know, and it kind of changes the foundation of everything in their relationship and kind of and the idea of the movie is to provoke of like questions of like, okay, how much of knowing one thing about a person can change them to you, uh and other things like that. And I think a lot of the discussions and things that this movie tries to create with that stuff is interesting and a good idea for a movie to explore. I really like Rob Pattinson in the movie. He's good. Zendaya is also good. She is not as great as I've seen her in other things, especially Euphoria, which I've recently started watching. There should be a review for that actually pretty soon. I just. I'm really trying to figure out how to tackle this. Where this movie got hurt is the spoiler. You see, the thing that Zendaya reveals that is her secret, that's a big deal in this movie, is that she planned to go do a school shooting. And you could see why that upset a lot of people. Also, noting that this movie was advertised like a dramatic, not dramatic, but a semi dramatic romantic comedy. So, like, you probably are to have a lot of people who are going this movie with a date or trying to have like some kind of romantic thing. And then they end up watching this very uncomfortable movie and not in like a way that I think that the movie was going for, but it's now uncomfortable because they decided to use this real world political issue as the starting off point for this plot. I think this is very insensitive. I think in context it is better because in context, basically basically he finds out that she was going to be a school shooter, and he can't stop thinking about it. So eventually, he goes back to her, has her explain what changed, why she didn't do it, how close she got. Basically, she was so fascinated by gun culture and the idea of mass shooters because they're everywhere that she thought it was cool. But then when a mass shooting comes to her school and actually hurts somebody, she realizes the actual real world effects that it has on people, and that stops her from doing it and changes her as a person. So I think in context it does make it better because I also feel like there's a side of that that could be somewhat real to real life. Now I don't, I think there's more nuance to that subject, but I would say like there probably are a lot of people who commit mass shootings who probably are people who are fascinated with gun culture and a lot of these things being everywhere. That is just the right wing ecosystem that we live in with gun culture in the US and things like that. I just think that it's in poor taste to take this very nuanced subject and not necessarily choose not to use it in a nuanced way because I don't think the movie wasn't trying to take the nuance out of it. But I also think there was no good way to stomach this in a movie. It made me uncomfortable the whole movie. And yes, art is supposed to make you uncomfortable and challenge you. But I don't feel like it was the way the movie wanted me to feel uncomfortable and make me question things. The movie just made me uncomfortable because I was thinking, why would they choose this as the jumping off for this plot? Because it could just been that she, uh, you know, uh, ran over a dude and covered it up, and maybe Robert Pattinson's not comfortable with that, or maybe Robert Pattinson is person really insecure about gay people, and so he, I don't know, something. There's millions of ways that they could have done this plot without making it a school shooting thing, and it's just so uncomfortable and disturbing and fucked up, and not in a way that the movie intended. And I think it's so mean spirited and disrespectful to people who've actually gone through this stuff to use this in a plot of a movie like this. I don't think the movie's like horrible and we should cancel everyone involved with it. I especially since but I do think that there is a real world consequence to using things like this in the way that the movie is. And this is going to continue going on in conversations of how Hollywood takes the issue of gun violence and doesn't tend to handle it the best. A lot of these people want to lecture us in Hollywood about gun violence, all these things, but this is the stuff that they turn out. And I'm not saying that this is like downplaying gun violence. I don't think it is. I just think it's not handling in a great way, because this is not the kind of thing you should use to make a movie about. Especially not in current culture. Like, what the fuck?